Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Let's talk about number one, Palantir Technologies finally finalizes their partnership with Oracle, which what this means is that this allows Palantir's products to gain exposure to multiple different industries. We're going to be getting into the details about what this means and also everything you need to know regarding this partnership. On top of that, we have the Fed that had its first day testifying to Congress, talking about remarks on monetary policy and what's been happening with the economy regarding inflation. We're going to be talking about what the probability is of the first interest rate cuts and really how the market reacted and what they're expecting and what's going to be happening for the rest of the week. We also need to be talking about NVDA because we're continuing to see demand and even price targets that are still continuing to increase. So if you're a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Pop it up on the screen here, quickly talking about Palantir in terms of a technical perspective, holding at the 27s. And this is really cool to see, especially as PLTR is sitting at these 52-week highs. We're seeing some cooling off at this area. We're not seeing this pullback yet. Now, the question is, will we see a run up here? Technically, up into the 30s and even beyond. We have earnings that is expected to come in about a month. Earnings per share predictions are at about 8 cents per share. Revenue at about 652 million. We talked about this before. What we're seeing though is volume that is continuing to be high at about the 50 millions. And this could be a good reason why Palantir is holding at this level, of course, in correlation with this cup and handle pattern that we've seen being set up, especially the weekly charts are looking incredibly attractive. One thing that I do want to point out though, we do have a spike in short volume that did come in today, total short volume at 7.17 million. So we could have some bigger investors that are starting to possibly flip their position here at the 52 weeks high, expecting a little bit of a pullback, but this isn't necessarily always a bad thing. What we're seeing here, short sale ratio at about 12%. Now let's talk about what we do know about the Palantir and the Oracle cloud and bringing AI innovation with this collaboration. Now, remember, of course, they announced their collaboration and their partnership, but what happened today is that they announced that the Foundry platform and AIP that they recently released last year are available across all of its distributed cloud deployment options. This includes popular Oracle cloud infrastructure, and Palantir are on watch today along with Oracle in light of this news. And with this important development, what we're seeing here is a step that they are both taking into artificial intelligence dominance. And I couldn't agree anymore with that statement that Palantir now has a ton of exposure via Oracle Cloud's infrastructure. And what's happening with PLTR is that investors are really agreeing that this news is very bullish for the AI demand as we continue to see that expansion across that has been growing within the market. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the middle of an AI boom. I don't think anybody can disagree with that statement right there. Now, we've seen PLTR. Why this really matters is because, like I said, having this technology deployed across Oracle's platforms is excellent for Palantir, and that the tech giant really spans across multiple industries, helping it steadily over the past year. Now the momentum is likely to continue. And this is really coupling with what we've been seeing along with this interesting article talking about how this rally still appears to continue to ride. Let's take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, MooMoo. Now, MooMoo is your one-stop trading app that offers free commission trading along with very powerful investment tools, making it easier for you to make those confident decisions within the market. Right now, new users can sign up utilizing my welcome bonus down in the description, and you can get up to 8.1% limited time APY on uninvested cash and up to 15 free stocks with a deposit. You also can get up to a $300 transfer in bonus. So you do not want to miss out on those rewards. Make sure you check out MooMoo down in the description. Back to the video. And what this means here, as tempting as they say, this is a Seeking Alpha article talking about as tempting as it is to sell, and this is why we possibly could have saw it with a short volume increasing, talking about this article, on the basis of riding the rally. And we see, number one, the reacceleration into the governmental business. We saw this with the Titan contract. This is just a prime example, which really shows you that this is still a very trustworthy and a credible revenue source for Palantir to rely upon on. And as they continue to expand into the commercial segments via this boot camp style, this is where we're starting to see Palantir that is continuing to expand the products that they can offer. And that's just what we talked about in the Oracle deal. That's a prime example right there of how boot camps have been very lucrative for PLTR. Now, what are the big things here? A multi-year investment. That's the way that I personally see PLTR. Not in a short-term trade. I always am looking at these stocks on a long-term bullish perspective. Of course, we analyze in the short term when you have earnings coming up, when you have different types of news, inflationary news, and things like that, which we'll get to in a minute. But what we see with PLTR is that these applications really do have limitless capabilities and use cases. The fact that PLTR is really doing a great job bringing utility to AI, I think, is one of the most key important factors that is helping to bring expansion and growth to this individual stock and keeping up with the market momentum. One thing that we do need to live with, and I can't agree with this anymore, and it's one of the biggest criticisms for Palantir stock, is its valuation. And the big concern here for Palantir isn't so much this fundamental risk, but it's more about the valuation concern. And of course, people are slightly uncomfortable with its valuation. What we see with current shares and at market cap over 61 billion now, what we're seeing here is very high premiums. We see right here, fiscal year revenue and Palantir's valuation multiples at 21.5x. And a lot of companies don't have such high premiums compared to Palantir Technologies. But as we see this, basically a lot of people, and kind of where I'm sitting right now, are really willing to forego the usual inclination about timing purchases and basically holding on for the long haul. And because with the momentum that's behind PLTR, I think this is kind of throwing the whole valuation, and for those valuation-oriented investors, throwing that all out the door. And one of the big things that I always talk about is that future earnings reports are usually a very great gauge of how highly valued a stock is. What we've seen for the previous several quarters now for Palantir Technologies is that a lot of people are always expecting very positive and bullish earnings. So, of course, if everybody is on the train that we're going to see increased revenue, momentum, and stock price, and blah, 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 everything going to the green, of course it's going to have a high valuation. So that's just something you're going to have to live with if people are going to be getting that and kind of getting their feet that wet with Palantir. Now let's talk about what we did see in terms of the testimony today. And that is after the Federal Reserve here came in front of Congress, we didn't see much changes in the market expectations. And that's just because basically he really offered kind of little guidance on the Fed's plans on really when it's going to lower interest rates. The market is still continuing to have their same expectations that there's going to be about a 70. We've seen also from other sources, 70 to 80% chance that the central bank is going to cut its main interest rate as soon as September. And we have that same 70 to 80% chance that we're going to see at least 2 rate cuts this year. Now, what we did see here, the Fed coming out basically saying that elevated inflation is the only risk that they face in the testimony, and also talking about, and specifically what they say, is that they just don't want to move rates too little or too late, warning that basically each scenario could weaken the economy. They basically want to time it right, and this is really not surprising the market at all, and that's really, I don't think, why we saw a lot of volatility with this testimony. However, this still continues tomorrow, number one, and CPI data for June comes out on Thursday, so those will other be different market variables. Now, talking about NVIDIA, the stock price chart, talking about here, NVIDIA, of course, is exploding. One of the big things is the launch of the new Blackwell system. This is going to be the next line of semiconductors that will be basically taking over the H100 chips as far as my knowledge goes. And we have these different lead sector analysts right here saying that the AI demand is going to continue to drive further gains back. And this is going to happen even as we see China and auto sector demands that are starting to struggle to gain momentum. Get this Culver's coupon out of there. What they say here indicates that traditional service demand continues to improve, and basically what they're saying is with price target changes, we've seen this going up to about $150 now. A lot of analysts are starting to agree with that, and with these so-called hyperscalers right now, Google, Amazon, they're poised to spend about $92 billion this year alone building out their massive computing infrastructure. And of course, they're going to be looking at NVDA for those artificial intelligence chips. So, well, I'm not seeing any signs of slowing down there. Interesting things on the table. What do you guys think about this Oracle kind of sealing the deal on this partnership with this great bearish or bullish article? Where do you see PLTR? Do you think a breakout to the 30s is possible here? And this kind of establishing a little bit of a cooling off of the 27s? Not a bad thing. Peace out. Catch you guys later and have a great day.